Hey, this is Teddy Burriss. This conversation is titled LinkedIn is a serious business tool. And I use that phrase because it really is. If we treat it seriously, we'll get more value out of it. I got a series of conversations I want to have with you based on just a small slide deck. And then after these ideas and these perspectives I share with you, then we'll go to live into LinkedIn and we'll do Q&A and I'll answer any and all questions that come up. Who am I? Again, I'm Teddy Burriss. I'm a LinkedIn strategist. I've been teaching LinkedIn since 2009. Been using it seriously since 2007. I'm Sandler sales trained, Dale Carnegie trained, BDI trained, as a leadership trainer. I'm certified social media strategist. I'm a certified career coach. I am a Toastmaster, and I've been around for a while. I'm also the author of 2 books that are on Amazon, 6 ebooks that I distribute to my clients during training and coaching. I've got 800 YouTube videos out there. Almost over 400 of them are focused to LinkedIn and Sales Navigator. Specifically, the rest of them are generally networking. And I've got 5,100 questions that I've answered on Quora, again, all about networking and using LinkedIn as a business tool. I eat, drink, and sleep this stuff. By the way, during this conversation, if you have any questions, just feel free to unmute yourself because it's a small enough group and you can ask me any question. So why use LinkedIn as a business tool? Well, first of all, LinkedIn is the world's largest professional networking site on the internet. There's nothing that compares to it as a professional networking site. Number 2, there are 720, actually the number is really 750 million LinkedIn members. There are 2 new members every second. There are also 56 million companies represented on LinkedIn in one way or the other. 111,000 schools, universities, colleges, community colleges, private schools. And there's also this stat, listen to these words, 25% of all the members on LinkedIn show up at least every other week. Now that sounds low, but think about this. In 2019, that number was 25% of all LinkedIn members showed up once a month. Activity has doubled on LinkedIn over the last couple of years. Another reason why we should use LinkedIn as a business tool is because LinkedIn profiles are highly indexed, not only by LinkedIn, but by Google. And if you do it right, your LinkedIn profile could show up in a Google search. It could create an opportunity for you to be found by your target audience. Why use LinkedIn as a business tool and to achieve your goals? Well, on LinkedIn, you can create connections to influencers. These are people who know or could introduce you to your target audience. You can also connect with your target audience on LinkedIn. And when you connect with influencers and your target audience, it creates a portal or an opportunity to have a conversation with your target audience and ultimately move those conversations where relevant, appropriate, into business conversations. Why use LinkedIn as a business tool? Because you can have relevant and meaningful engagement and content that you share on LinkedIn that helps you build your professional brand and your reputation. This is where most people fail. Most people fail because they think LinkedIn is a great place, a dumping ground for their branded content. It's not a dumping ground for your branded content. It's a professional network for you to get into real conversations and help people. Why use LinkedIn as a business tool? Because LinkedIn search is powerful and it's fast. There are 14 search filters in LinkedIn for people. There are 24 search filters in Sales Navigator that makes it even more powerful to find your target audience and find their influencers. Why use LinkedIn as a business tool? I stopped cold calling around 2007. And the reason why I stopped cold calling is because I didn't need to. And I still do not need to cold call. Don't misunderstand me. I make a lot of phone calls, but typically I'm calling people who already know me. And the reason why I'm able to do that is because of my use of LinkedIn. Because I'm very purposeful about growing my network, very purposeful about growing my brand. And that gives me the opportunities to ask my network to introduce me to the people I want to talk with. By the way, feel free to ask any questions, unmute yourself if you have any questions. I'm happy to answer them along the way and or at the end. Here's something else to think about. KPIs, key performance indicators of how well is LinkedIn working for me. Well, there's one set of indicators that's called the social selling index. Okay. And ignore the rankings up top. I pretty much ignore those. But what's important is these 4 components down here. And that is, establishing your professional brand. How well built is your LinkedIn profile? And how clearly and concisely does it tell your target audience who you are and what you do? And the more concise you are, the more complete your LinkedIn profile is, the better that number moves up. Second number is finding the right people. Are you connecting with the right people relevant to who you say you're all about and what you do in your profile? Now, that's hard for me to move up because I connect with 2 people. Sales leaders, sales professionals, sales trainers is one group of people, but I'm also a career coach. So I connect with a lot of people who are unemployed and looking for jobs so that I can help them. Third number is engaging with insights. This is a hard one to do. And the more you engage on content that is relevant to your target audience, the more you engage, not just share, and the more you engage and share content that's useful to your target audience, relevant to who you're connected with, relevant to what you say you're all about, the more that number moves up. Again, that was a really hard one to move up. I've had it up to 20, 21 before, but it takes a lot of work. But again, it's a great measure to see, are you engaging appropriately or not? And the 4th number in here is building relationships. This measures how well are you connected to the people you're connected with. It's one thing to have one connection with the client. It's another thing to have 5 connections in that company. And it's even more powerful to have 5 or 10 people who you're connected with who are also connected with those people. The more interwoven your network is, the more that number goes up. Here's another KPI to pay attention to. Actually, 2 of them here that are important. Who's viewed your profile? The more people who view your LinkedIn profile, the more likely somebody is going to view it and say, I want to talk with you. And the other number is how often you show up in searches. And what are those searches? Each one of these is a hyperlink, so you can see what are the words that people use to find you and who is searching for you and what companies, what roles. Pay attention to these KPIs can help you understand, am I being found for the right words? Or am I not using the right words? Or am I using words that I think are the right words and they're not? And are those words throughout my LinkedIn profile? Here's another measure. How big is your LinkedIn network? Now, I'm a little bit different than most people. I have a relatively large LinkedIn network. One advantage that I have is every single person I connect with, I engage with. Every single one of my connections I have engaged with at least one time. Many I've engaged with numerous times. My level of engagement is directly proportional to their relevance to my business. Another number is followers. I have a philosophy of generating followers. I don't need to connect with everybody. I invite people to follow me who may not be my target audience, who I may not feel are an influencer today, but these followers are powerful for me because they engage in my content and they refer me to others. All of those being important, probably the most important KPI is how many business conversations have I had in the last week that's a result of my LinkedIn activity. That's an important measure, because if I can't say in a month to month, I can't say that I've gotten business or had a business conversation because of my LinkedIn activity, then I'm not doing it right. Very bluntly stated, if I'm not getting conversations, I'm not using LinkedIn right. And that's my ultimate measure. Again, feel free to ask any question. I'm happy to answer them along the way or at the Q&A section. Another thing about using LinkedIn is you got to get focused, or you can keep throwing spaghetti at the wall, whatever that means. Look, we studied in sales and marketing classes that everyone is not your target audience. You need to know who your target audience is. You need to know that in LinkedIn as well, because the more focused you are on your target audience, the more likely you'll create success. And you need to be clear about this, because not everyone is your target audience. You need to know who is the human, typically in the role, typically in the company, in an industry, maybe even in a region. Who is that human that is your target audience? And additionally, you need to figure out and be clear about who are the influencers, who are the humans that can introduce me to my target audience. The clearer you are about this, the better your conversation is going to be, the better your networking is going to be, and the more likely you'll create success using LinkedIn. So it's also all about the words that we use on LinkedIn. We need to be clear as we're figuring out who our target audience is. What are the words and phrases that are important to them? I remember about 3 months ago, I was working with a new client and I was doing LinkedIn coaching for their team. And I kept using the word client as I was talking about them connecting on LinkedIn, connect with their client, engage with their client, getting in conversation with their client. And somebody finally raised their hand and said to me, Teddy, we don't have clients. We have members. They're an association. I should have snagged that, and I didn't. But think about it. I was using the wrong word for them. My whole conversation was falling on deaf ears because I was talking about clients. They don't have clients. They have members. So you've got to know what the words are, keywords and phrases that are important to your target audience. So you're using their words in your conversations. And relevant, use their words relevant to your services and products, et cetera, et cetera. And when you find ways to use their words throughout your profile, in your content, in your comments, on your company pages, in your events, in LinkedIn groups, et cetera, then you're speaking to them with their language and they're more likely to pay attention to you. Know your target audience and know the keywords that are important to them. So let's talk about the power of a professional LinkedIn profile. And I use the phrase professional LinkedIn profile to represent one that you very purposely built in the right way. And a professional LinkedIn profile is not your resume. Your resume is your ongoing obituary. A professional LinkedIn profile resembles more of a brochure that speaks clearly to your target audience, telling them what you do, can do, have done, relevant for them. And you got a professional LinkedIn profiles, you use spell check and grammar check so that you don't show up in my Manger report or my pubic relations report that I do each year. You don't want to be that person or those 104 people that's in that list last year. Understanding what content to put in your LinkedIn profile is vital. It must all be relevant to who you are and what you do today. And you must speak clearly to your target audience, first person. It's you speaking to your viewer. If you want to build a professional LinkedIn profile, minimize the distractions from irrelevant content. Show the viewer a little bit about who you are as a human being, as a person. It's sometimes referred to peel back a few layers, get a little bit vulnerable, and understand what sections of a LinkedIn profile you need to use. Use all of the relevant LinkedIn profile sections where you can. And a profile picture is important. Without a profile picture, or one that cannot be seen by only first level connections, it shows the other LinkedIn member you're not approachable. And furthermore, look at your contact information, make sure it's accurate, up to date, test it. Make sure that website works. Make sure that email address works. Call your phone number and see what kind of voicemail message you get. Because the worst thing you can do is have someone call your cell phone and it go, I'm sorry, this voicemail box is full. You can't leave a message because this person doesn't care enough. Check that stuff out. Make sure it works for you. And remember, in your profile, you're telling your target audience what you do for them. You're not pitching your stuff. Let's look at your LinkedIn network. This is also important. My most important asset in life is my is my network in general, which includes my LinkedIn network. These are the people that are in my life, the humans that are a part of my life. That is critical to me. And as you grow your LinkedIn network, you need to grow it focused on your target audience and your influencers. Now, you're looking for those people to connect with, but along the way, you need to be willing to connect with others that you can help, even though they may not need your help. That's important. It's called Networking for Mutual Benefit. There's a book on Amazon about that. Read it. Purposeful networking creates the best value. When you're purposefully networking and trying to find your target audience, when you're purposefully networking and looking to get introduced to your target audience, when you're purposefully networking, you're bumping into them through their content in conversations relevant to the content. Never hijack a conversation. Purposeful networking also includes that you immediately engage your network as you connect. That's vital. Do not collect a bunch of digital business cards. That does not help you. Purposeful networking says to you that you need to remember, they don't care about you until they know you care about them. So you're building your profile and you're building your network. And these are activities that I coach people through every day. And they're activities I coach people through in private conversations and as well as group conversations. The next thing you need to start doing is social engagement and social sharing. And most people fail right here. They do not do it. Most people miss out on the importance of social engagement. But don't be that guy who shows up at a networking event and every time he walks in the building and starts doling out business cards of reckless abandon. And don't be that person that shows up at a networking event, hands out a bunch of corporate brochures and then leaves because they're gone. That doesn't help you. Nobody wants that. Look for ways to get into real conversations with your target audience and their influencers. And Dale Carnegie said, make these conversations all about the other person. And if you do that right, and you show the other person that you are truly a human by listening to them, actively listening to them, then the right people will allow you to make the conversation about you as well. And then you can talk about who you are and what you do and look for ways to pull them deeper into a conversation. Human-to-human engagement. By the way, real engagement is at least 6 words, relevant to the conversation. Not, thanks a lot for the article, Teddy, I really appreciate it. No, you read what they shared, you listened to the video, you read what their own words, and you engage with them relevant to what they said and what they shared. Sharing content is important, but you need to make sure that content is relevant to your target audience and that it helps you build a relevant brand. You want to share content that they want. And furthermore, social engagement means you need to protect yourself and never do, say, or engage in any way that can damage your brand. Or can never engage in any way you don't want to be seen, heard, or perceived of in life. And never touch content that could diminish your brand. And furthermore, minimize the use of the click, 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 canned responses and comments. Use your words. Care enough to spend a few moments saying something meaningful in your own words. I did some research about 3 months ago now, 4 months ago, it was in February, where I did a LinkedIn poll. And on the poll, I asked, after you view someone's LinkedIn profile for the first time, what do you look at next? Was it their website, their activity? Do you look for their contact information, or you look at their company page? And I got a lot of different responses, but the bulk of the responses, about 48% of them said, I will go look at their company page. Think about that. In the poll, the bulk of the response was, I will go look at their company page. So what that made me think of is, great. If they find your LinkedIn profile, first of all, what does that say to them about how you help them? And if they're going to go look at your company page next, 2 things come to mind. One is, are you connected to your company page? Do you have one? And the other thing is, what does your company page say? Because most LinkedIn company pages are all about the business. We're this business, we're that business. We've been in business for 30 years and we do this and we do that. But most company pages do not speak clearly to the target audience, telling them what they do, what the company does to serve them. This is critical. So before I go, we're getting ready to go live in LinkedIn. Am I on track? I am on track. We're going live in LinkedIn. I'll answer any and all questions you share with me. But before we do, I want to share with you this offer. I have a webinar series I do once a month. It kicks off on the 4th Wednesday of each month. And then it goes on to the 5th Wednesday or the first Wednesday of the next month. 2 sessions that are public. And in these sessions, we talk about purposely defining your target audience, choosing the right words, building your LinkedIn profile, getting into social conversations, and building your LinkedIn network. 2 sessions. You also get all 4 ebooks: building a professional LinkedIn profile, building a highly relevant LinkedIn network, building a professional reputation. And the newest ebook is 20 questions about LinkedIn and the answers you need. And then furthermore, everyone who signs up for this gets a free bonus one-on-one session. So the first 2 sessions are group. The 3rd session is a private session. And my goal is to help you master using LinkedIn as a business tool. And for everybody who shows up during these webinars, I give a 33% discount, makes the course not $400, it becomes back to about $290 for 3 hours of one-on-one coaching, 2 hours in a group, 1 hour private. So if you're interested in this, let me know. I'll share the offer with you. And again, we kick this off on the 4th Wednesday of each month. So that's my that's my presentation. This is my offer. Now what I'm going to do is go into LinkedIn and I'll answer any questions. So feel free to ask me any questions about LinkedIn for the next 15 minutes and I'll answer them.
So I have a question about influencers. How do you know if someone is an influencer?
Well, typically an influencer is someone who knows your target audience. That's typically what an influencer is. And the best influencers are people that you're connected to so that you can ask them for an introduction. Now, one way to find out if they're an influencer, you mind if I bring your LinkedIn profile up?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. So one way to know if they're an influencer is, are they connected? So there's 10 people that I know that you know, and you're in Oklahoma. Okay. So an influencer to me is one of these 10 people who I know well enough to ask them if they know you. That's an influencer. Okay. So if I want to connect with Lauren or Azim or Chance, I'm not sending them an invite. I want to go look and see who I know that knows her or him and ask for an introduction. That's what an influencer is.
Okay. And so you mentioned about groups. How do you find groups in LinkedIn?
So you can go up here and do a search. I can look for, banana farmer. Hit enter. Okay, so I'm looking for banana farmers. I can look at people, posts, companies, jobs, groups, schools, courses, events, or services. Look, there's groups. And there's no banana farmer groups. Okay, but I can get rid of banana. And there's farmer groups. There's 470 groups that are about farming.
Okay.
Okay. So if I want to connect with a bunch of farmers, guess where I'm going to go? I'm going to go to this group right here, 17,000 members. Okay. But I want to make sure that this group is real. So I'm going to have to request to join it. And I'm going to have to evaluate what's going on in this group. One thing I could do is go to my friend Kim Hall and ask her, what's this group all about? Now, groups are the least useful area of LinkedIn. I hate saying that, but it's fact. The least useful area of LinkedIn. So if I'm going to join a group, I'm not going to join a group, start dumping content. I'm going to join a group and start engaging on content relevant to me and relevant to the members of this group. Furthermore, the other thing I can get value out of the group is once I'm a member of the group, then I have the ability to go look at group members and I can message them one-on-one. And my messaging better be about this group and about them. It better not be about selling my widget.
Okay.
What other questions do you have?
So you were saying you need more social engagement. How do you do more social engagement? Is that through posting or what?
So posting is a part of engagement, but the most meaningful area of engagement is your activity. Okay. It's where you comment in meaningful ways. Okay. And then look, I pulled Jim into the conversation here. It's where you comment in a meaningful way. It's one thing to like his post or like his comment, which I just did. But it's something else to really get into a deep conversation or a real conversation. Susan shared this and I comment, I love it. And I love my Grammarly because it helps me stay out of trouble. But by the way, what I also did that you didn't see is that after she shared this and I commented, I sent her a private message and asked her another question. This is meaningful engagement. Okay. Meaningful engagement is, a client of mine posted something and I engaged with him directly, offering, gratitude for what they're doing. I commented with Rita directly about her growth with the company. She did not engage back with me here. Somebody did. Who was it? She liked it, but here's what you also didn't see. I also sent her a private message. So it's one thing to make a bunch of posts. I do that quite often. It's one thing to write articles or share documents, but true social engagement is for you to jump into conversations with other people. And Paint 2.0 launches. What other questions or thoughts do you have that I can help you with?
So what kind of content should you post? Should it be about the services you provide? Should it be random FYIs, human interest?
So the key, so I'm a 90-10 rule. The 90-10 rule says 90% of the content I share cannot be about me. It cannot be about me. Okay. 10% of the time it can be about me or my business or my products or my widgets or my services or whatever. But 90% of the time it can't be about me. It's got to be relevant to me, but it can't be about me. It can't be about my products and services. Also, it can't be random. I use the word relevant. Relevant takes away random. Okay. It can be diverse. It can be broad, but it's always got to be relevant.
Relevant to what?
Relevant to your target audience and what you do for them.
Okay.
Now, I know you're in the insurance industry. So it can be about insurance. It can be about life. It can be about protecting yourself. It can be about, keeping yourself out of trouble. It can be about, risk management. It can be about, stories about people whose homes burnt down and they had insurance and they were destroyed. Personally, they were just devastated. They were devastated, but that devastation was nowhere near as bad because they had the ability to protect themselves. It can be motivational, inspirational. It can be, motivational, inspirational, encouraging. It can be all of that.
Should you post every day, or how often per week should you post?
Whatever you can sustain long term. That's the answer. So I'm not telling you that you to do it monthly, weekly, or daily, but whatever you choose to do better be something you can sustain, because once people get used to seeing your content every day, they want to see your content every day. The algorithms are designed that if you do this frequently daily, then the algorithms are going to want to keep making your content available. And if you stop doing it, then you basically disappear. If you do it weekly, the algorithms are used to you being weekly, then it'll work well. And weekly, you get new content. Weekly, you share more. Weekly, you get more engagement on it. You get more eyeballs. Where's my eyeball number? You get my eyeballs on it. So whatever you can sustain. Now, what I generally tell people to do is don't overcommit. So if you're not sure you can do it weekly, then do it every other week. If you're not sure you can do it every other week, commit to monthly. But and furthermore, you need to make sure what you're sharing cannot always be branded content. When I see people who all they share is branded content, people get tired of that. They want diverse content. They want motivational, inspirational, encouraging. They want stories. They want, articles and videos and, images that, well-rounded content. Because we're all well-rounded human beings. We don't all walk and talk and act like ducks that we're this branded machine. What other questions do you have that I can help you with?
That's all I have right now.
Yeah. So, well, cool. I mean, this works. It works for every industry, but it really does take a concerted effort to use LinkedIn deliberately. Grow your presence, grow your network, grow your brand through your content and your engagement. And it's a long-term journey. It doesn't happen overnight. It takes time to get there, but the best time to start is now. You wait a month or wait 6 months, you've wasted a month or wasted 6 months. So thanks a lot for showing up. Thanks for coming. I'll send you a link to this slide deck, a link to the recording. And if you're interested, I'll also include a link to the one-on-one coaching. So,
Okay.
cool beans. Have a great day, and we'll talk another day.
All right. Thank you.
Bye-bye.